today we are going to discuss how to apply goodness of fit test using chi-square test on exponential distribution. Uh, Let H0 and H1 be two different hypotheses, one for random variable which are exponentially distributed, and H1 is for random variable which is not exponentially distributed. Now the cumulative distribution function f of a of I is equal to 1 minus e to the power of minus lambda ai. Now in the previous method we used to select 0 as the minimum limit for that particular class interval. For example, in the given list, if there is 0 is a minimum number, then 0 to 10, 10, 11 to 20, like this used to select. But here there is some proper method in order to select those upper limit and lower limit for a particular class interval. If 10 comma 20, then 10 is a lower limit and 20 is upper limit for that particular class interval. That's what in the endpoints for each interval are computed from cumulative distribution function for the exponential distribution, which is given by f of ai is equal to p. So where ai represents the endpoints for the intervals I is equal to 1 to k, then you know that f of I represents the cumulative area from 0 to I. Now the above equation can be written as so here f of ai is equal to ip, so I'll take ip, but here in the previous equation f of ai equal to 1 minus e to the power of minus lambda ai, so that ip equal to 1 minus e to the power of minus lambda ai equal to minus e to the power of lambda ai equal to 1 minus ip. Now I need to find out what would be the value of AI. So that to get this, I have to apply um, taking logarithms on both the sides of equation 1. So we are going to get this. That is AI equal to minus 1 by lambda ln of 1 minus IP, where I is equal to 0 to k. So now you have to remember, like if you want to have a class interval 10, then the value of k should be 10. Okay, that is 0 to 10. Okay, now including 0 and the last one. So now regardless of whatever value you are going to get it lambda. So what is lambda here? Lambda is the parameter estimates for distribution function. So here it is mean equal to 1 by lambda. Okay. Now regardless of this whatever value you are going to get, so the minimum value of ai should be 0. That is, the first class interval should always contain the first value as 0 to something, and ak equal to infinity. That is, the last interval you are selecting, that the largest limit of ak is equal to infinity. Okay, with this we'll see one problem so that you will understand how to find out ai, ek, and all these values. Now following data are found with the random numbers that are distributed exponentially. Apply chi-square test for goodness of fit test for this particular data. The level of significance alpha is equal to 0.05, and in the examination the critical value also will be given. Now, so assume these are all the different set of random numbers which are n is equal to 50, and they are randomly exponentially distributed. Okay, these are all random integers. If you look at 79.919, so which is not between 0 to 1. So now the first step is to find out always the what is the value of lambda. Okay, to find this lambda for exponential distribution, lambda is equal to 1 by x bar. Okay, now we need to find out what is the value of x bar. Now if you look at all this data is ungrouped, it is not grouped. So for in the parameter estimates, we know that how to find out x bar for a ungrouped data. So that is x bar is equal to I equal to 1 to n xj divided by this. Okay. So now 591 you will get, if you add all these numbers, all these numbers, you will get 591.644 divided by 50. So that you are going to get it as 11.833. This is your x bar value. So lambda equal to 1 by x bar. Okay, that is 1 divided by 11.833, that is equal to 0.084. Now to find a class interval, as I told earlier, you have to consider ai is equal to 0 by default, ak equal to infinity. Now I have to find out a is equal to 8, that is the number of intervals is equal to 8. Okay, now if you want to get a k 8 intervals, so your ai value should be like 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7. So here how many values? So up to 0 to 7 by default, last value should be ak is equal to 8. How many? 8 values, no? So 3 plus 3, 6, 2 plus 8, totally 8 values. So by default ak is equal to 8, infinity. So now to find this in the given equation, okay, we know that in the formula you have p is equal to 1 by k. So that is the formula which you need to find out. Okay, p is equal to 1 by 8, that is 1 by k. So you are getting 0.125. So now after finding out, apply this particular formula. ai equal to minus 1 by lambda ln of 1 minus ip. Okay, ln, here it is ln, where I equal to this one. Okay, as usual, you know what is the value of ei here, n into ei. Okay, now if I is equal to 0, before I calculate this, when I substitute I is equal to 0 here, you will get a naught. So minus 1 by lambda ln of 1 minus ip. Okay, now I am going to substitute here all those values, I will get 0. So a1 value is 0. Now substitute ai is equal to 1. So you are going to get an equal to 1 minus lambda, that is 0.084 ln 1 minus I value is, here it is now 1. So you are going to get 1.590. So like this, if you substitute the values of I from 0 to 7, you are going to get these values. Okay, after getting these values, now you have to have find out what are the class intervals. Now the class intervals will be like 0 to 1.590, then 1.591 to 3.45, then 0.3456 to 595. Like this you have to find out. Okay, last value should be 24.756 to infinity. I got it. So a0 to a1, a1 to a2, a2 to a3, like this you have to find out the values of ai. With that, I have found here the values of the uh, the class intervals. First one is 0 to 0.590, 0 to 0.591, 1.90. We have to find out this particular class intervals. So first will be 0 to 1.590 will be your first class interval, 0 to 1.590. So next one will be 1.591 to 3.425. Okay. So next 3.426 to 5.595. So like this, if you look at the last class interval, it will be 24.756 to infinity. So the last value of the last limit should be always infinity. If you count this number of frequencies, which, that is 19 numbers will be in between 0 to 1.590 in the given list. In the given list, you can count it. Next, Like this, you will find out. Please find out all the observation frequencies. You will get like this. Expected frequency, you know, n into pi. Okay, so 6.25. It is common for all value. You are going to get this one also. Now, lambda square is equal to y minus a whole square divided by a. That is, you are going to get 19 minus 6.25 whole square divided by 6.25. That you are going to get 26.01. So with this, you find out all the values for lambda square. So you are going to get 39.6. So which is your calculated value. Now here k is equal to 8. Okay, number of cells is equal to 8 now. Number of class intervals is equal to 8. S is equal to 1 since only one parameter estimates. So you are going to get 12.6, and this critical value is less than the calculated value. So hence H0 is rejected. Okay. Now there is so this is with respect to goodness of fit test using chi-square test for uh, exponential distribution. The another method which you can apply is KS test. So what is the method? The method remains same. What we have done in earlier case, that is KS test. So what you used to do? You used to find out D plus D minus, then later D, then you are going to compare with the critical value. Here also we are going to do the same method. Now sometimes the data will not be available at all. So in such case, to select any input model will become very difficult. So that is what will there is one small topic which talks about selecting the various input models without the data. So unfortunately, it is often necessary in practice to develop a simulation model, okay, without any process data are available or without any data is available. So in such cases, the modeler must be resourceful in choosing the input models and must carefully check the sensitivity of results that we choose. So usually here, when the data is not available, there are many ways to obtain the information about the process. So one is the engineering data, which normally we are doing now. That is, often a product or a process has a performance rating provided by the manufacturer. So based on this, you can get certain data which are available. Then another important point is experts' opinion. So always this holds good in many cases, where in which just you are going to talk to the people who are more experienced with the process or similar kind of processes. Normally, they will give most likely kind of answers, pessimistic and optimistic. So this is what how you are going to collect the data when they using experts' opinions. Now, they must also able to say whether the process is nearly constant or it is highly variable, and they might be able to define the source of variability. So whether the data what you are going to use, whether it is completely a variable or constant, so that also they will tell. So another third method is physical or conventional limitations. Most real processes have physical limits. Okay, don't the because of the company policies, there could be upper limits on how long the process might be like. So this is one simple topic. So which talks about the selecting the input models without any data. Now there is sometimes you need to find out the multivariate and time series input models. This is the last topic. So usually like when there are two different multiple variables. Now you need to find out what is the relationship between those two variables. So, so here in this case, the random variables presented were considered to be independent of any other variable with the context of the problem. So, however, variables may be related, and if the variable appears in the simulation model as an input, the relation should be investigated and taken into consideration. Okay, this is mainly about the relationship between two variables. So if you look at two important points, one is covariance and correlation. Let x1 and x2 be two different variable, then mu I is called as a covariance, that is mean value, which is equal to E of xi, and sigma I square is equal to variance of xi. So in order to find out these variables, so when the mu I and sigma square, you have to check what kind of data it is given, whether the x1 and x2 whatever they are given is completely grouped or ungrouped. Based on that, you are going to find out mu I and sigma square I. Okay, so now the correlation and the covariance and the correlation are measures of linear dependency between two variables x1 and x2. Now, if you look at the covariance between x1 and x2 are defined by, this is the formula. Covariance of x1 comma x2 equal to 1 divided by n1 x1j x2j. Okay, that is if two variables are there, x1 x2, x21 x22 x31 x33, like this. Okay, minus n into x1 bar x2 bar. Okay, so this you have to remember. This will be more careful understandable when you solve this particular problem. So this is how you are going to find out the covariance of x1 comma x2. Now the row which is called as the covariance correlation is given by correlation of x1 and x2. The formula is covariance of x1 comma x2 by sigma 1 and sigma 2. How to find out the sigma 1 and sigma 2? You know how you are going to find out this sigma equal to variable variance of xi. You know how to find out a variance of xi for grouped and ungrouped group in the beginning of this particular chapter. Okay, now one simple problem, such simple problem I am going to choose two different variables, whether you need to find out these two variables are related or not. Now let x1 and x2 be two different variables which talks about lead time. These are all the values given, and x2 is another one. So with this two different variables, and these variables are randomly given, so it is indicates that these are all not grouped. So now first you have to find out is x bar. To find out x bar, just you find out the summation. Okay, you will get 61.4. Similarly, for second variable also you find out as 1018 sigma. Now in order to find out variance, I need x1 square, x2 square. Okay, if you look at the formulas, then x1 into x2. So this is to find out, this is x1 into x2. Okay, so now with this I will find out the value. Mean of x1 bar equal to 61.4 divided by 10. So mean x2 bar I got it. For ungrouped data, if you remember the formula, variance of xi equal to sigma I square equal to, this is the formula for ungrouped data. So I have substituted the values to with this. Sigma 1 square is equal to, I am getting sigma 1 equal to 1.04 square equal to 386.44 minus 10. So we will getting, you will be getting sigma 1 equal to 1.024 and sigma 2 square is equal to 9.93. Okay, now covariance of x1 and x2 equal to 1 divided by n minus 1. Okay, n minus 1 is this one, minus n minus 1 into bracket sigma of x1j x2j. Okay, that is this value x1 and basically it is x1 and x2 6328 minus n is value is 10 into x bar equal to 6.14 9.93. So this is covariance of x1 x2. I am getting 8.66. Now what is a correlation? Correlation equal to covariance of x1 minus x1 comma x2 divided by sigma 1 into sigma 2. I have already identified sigma 1 and sigma 2 as this, so I am getting 0.86. So if you get this rho value less than 1, less than between 0 to 1, then we can say that the lead time and demand time are strongly depending on one another. Okay, so this is what about how to find out the covariance correlation, and based on the correlation value, how you are going to find out the two variables are depending on each other. So this completes your entire module number 4.